So why are OCs so traumatized? It's a big thing I've seen on TikTok as someone who uses TikTok a lot for my OC content and for my art content. And I came across this video of someone explaining like, a lot of OCs are just like, oh yeah, you give them 1,000 scars, they were abused the hell back from their family, etc. But I kind of know, it's not like everyone has this, or like everyone will relate to this. Some people just have traumatized OCs for no reason. But as someone who used OCs to kind of like process my own trauma and things I liked and disliked, I can kind of explain why, at least for me, why my OCs were like, oh yeah, they were abused from the age of 10, they lost their family, blah 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 blah, all that sort of like almost edgy, quote unquote. Basically because I needed to understand trauma and explore and process my own, so often I would make up very severe scenarios that I hadn't gone through, but that allowed me to like feel valid, I guess, in my experience, because I've seen a lot of people be like, oh yeah, you went through this one event, that means your trauma is valid because like it's one event compared to people who are abused all the time in their life and etc. And I had OCs back in the day that were like really, really traumatized. But it wasn't because I'd gone through what they'd gone through, but I'd gone through something similar and I needed ways to process it that was safe. And like, I feel like not everyone is going to relate to this or think this is like why they have repressed OC characters. Some just want funny characters that have a lot of trauma because, you know, a lot of anime kind of like does that. Take Bongo Stray Dogs, Jujutsu Kaisen. No, Jujutsu Kaisen is not a good example, bro. But for me, I think it's one of the ways that you kind of like go and explore the world through a safer lens that isn't your own. Like, thinking about things that you don't normally think about. And now that's kind of developed in adulthood to me not really feeling super comfy with exploring trauma anymore. Because I'm an adult and it's different and I post my stuff online. Which gets onto the other topic of people are so critical of what the fuck kind of OCs you have because it has to be creative but not too creative. It has to be pretty but not too pretty or it'll look like AI. Don't even get me started on the AI. So at some point you're just stuck with either getting bullied or getting praised. And it makes you kind of not want to even post stuff online. But back to the main topic of the video. Why are characters traumatized? I think it's because a lot of people need a safe lens to explore things that they wouldn't normally explore and possibly process their own trauma. And if not, that's maybe because of the shows you liked had those characters with those kind of themes in them and you wanted to, you know, make that your own thing. And I've seen one topic also be discussed with like self-inserts and shit like that, and it is so annoying to see people be like, ew, you have a self-insert? Self-inserts aren't real, self-inserts aren't blah 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 blah. Like, I'm pretty sure every single person had a self-insert at some point. Like, where are we bullying people for having fun? Making an OC is supposed to be fun. Being creative, writing is supposed to be fun. Why are we bullying people for the one thing that they feel like they can do? Like, come on. We need to be better than that. That is just fucking annoying. Like, fucking come on. Onto a lighter side of the topic. One thing I really love with that sort of writing technique, writing like severely traumatized characters, is that it allowed me to explore a lot of topics that I would not normally have gone into, and allowed me to learn a lot more about mental health than I would have if I didn't. Like, there are things that I now know about the mental health world that I wasn't aware of, and I explored it through those characters. And you can get very creative and even add your own trauma and own issues to make the character more like realistic in a sense. Like, for example, with Cade, his relationship with his mom, it's based on my relationship with my mom. Crowley, he's based on a time where I wasn't sure what gender I was and had a really tough relationship that I needed to get out. And him and Harvey afterwards were me during a time where I was in a more happy place. And I wanted to explore that kind of safe feeling as an ace, as Crowley is ace as well. And there wasn't really much representation of that, so I decided to make my own. Midnight has always been a comfort character of mine because whenever I felt sad when I was younger, I would just imagine him there and pet him, and I've always been very close to animals, so Midnight was a perfect way for me to feel comfort in a sense I was more safe and more secluded. Sin is based on my view of gods and my perspective of God and how they act and all that sort of thing, but I'm not going to get into it because it gets into religion and stuff. But just each and every single one has their own, like, tidbit of my real life, and I'm sure others have the same thing as well, to be honest. You probably have some OC that was born from your emotions with a certain person, or something you wanted to have. For example, more representation in the AIDS community. I made first Crowley, and Cade became Arrow AIDS because it just fit him. Well, yeah, that's enough of me rambling. Have a good day.